up listening to a lot of different kind of music. There was always music playing in my house. My parents, grew up in the 40s, 50s, so they would listen to the Four Tops and the Spinners and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, things like that. And every once in a while, you see an advertisement, even now, for one of those really, really old groups that are, doing a show. But if you look at like the poster, if you look at the advertisement, you're looking at a bunch of guys in their like 30s and 40s, right? How can that possibly be the Spinners? Those guys have got to be in their 70s, 80s by now. What happens over the years is, some of these guys retire or they might even pass on. And the organization stays together, the group stays together. You've got guys that are singing the same songs and doing the same dances, wearing the same clothes, and doing these shows as the Spinners, as the Four Tops. If you're lucky, maybe there might be one original member still in the group or something, right? But like I remember seeing Earth, Wind, and Fire live. The original band, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and there's like 18 of them on stage, right? It's crazy. But I saw them, the originals, right? With the two lead singers, Maurice White and Philip Bailey. Iconic. Now, if you see, and they still perform, but those guys aren't performing anymore. And if you actually look at the band of that 18 original, and I don't know if it was 18, but of those original players, there might be really a handful of them that are still left. I know the bass player is still there. He's actually one of the founders of the group. But the two lead singers are gone, and most of the band is gone, replaced with other people. So I've seen the original Earth, Wind, and Fire. If I were to go watch an Earth, Wind, and Fire show now, am I really watching an Earth? Is that Earth, Wind, and Fire? Not to me, it's not, because I remember the original. The original was something totally different. So you can change out band players or band members, but at a certain point, if you change out enough of them, you've got something totally different. And you can call it the same thing and you can do the same music or whatever, but it's not the original, okay? Why am I talking about this? Well, if you looked at the title, we're talking about the Terra Rebels. So that group of people that came together and have accomplished everything that they've accomplished over the last 4 months or so, it's changing. Okay, and I did a video about this a few weeks ago, actually, because, they're coming up with different definitions. They're trying to cling on to this organization, and maybe we just change the focus of it and change how people look at it, but we're still here. Well, it's continuing to just change and change and change. And we've got people who are just blatantly leaving and saying, I am not in the Terra Rebels anymore. And today I heard about a few more, okay, that said, Trev, we left the Terra Rebels, okay? You know what? Once a Terra Rebel, always a Terra Rebel. So when they go on and they do their own projects, they immediately have that credibility that comes along with being a Terra Rebel. We know and love these guys for what they've done for us so far, right? But at some point, enough of them are going to leave and going to be replaced with other people, and you might have a handful of the originals left. Is it still the Terra Rebels? Not for me. Not for me. And we're already getting to that point, because not only are we changing personnel, but changing focus altogether. You've got a bunch of different groups with totally different ideas and perspectives on how to move forward with LUNC. And they're not putting those ideas necessarily together. In some cases, they're saying, well, we could maybe work both of these at the same time. They could work in conjunction with each other. But for the most part, everyone's working on their own thing, their own idea. And a lot of them are really diametrically opposed to the other. Now, we have been seeing on Twitter, as well as in the Discord, maybe in some of the different Telegram rooms that have come up, some very public disagreements, which have gotten a little snarky, a little passive aggressive, right? It's not the same anymore. I called this a long time ago. Talking to some of my, my people who are, I would consider, as much as you can be friends on the internet, some people who have become kind of friends of mine within the Terra Rebels that I talk to often, sometimes just kind of, shooting the shit, right? But I've mentioned to them, listen, it doesn't look like you guys are really going to be together as a group for that long. I mean, I see you guys moving off into different things in different ways, and at some point, we're not going to have the Terra Rebels anymore. Nobody really wanted to give that up or wanted to admit that that was what was going on. In a lot of ways, they still don't want to maybe believe that that's what's going on, and a lot of people are trying to fight that and keep the organization together on some level. And I believe that there probably always will be some sort of Terra Rebels. They've never really been a legal entity, but there'll always be some sort of Terra Rebels presence, and maybe it'll be a handful of the original guys. I don't know, okay? What bothers me most is that there are a few different perspectives on why this is happening. Now, you can hear what I consider maybe to be the sugar-coated view, and that is that, as we kind of move forward, there are maybe some departments that don't have the ability to really be as productive anymore with the new things that we're being faced with, and so they're being phased out. Maybe there were some individuals who were considered maybe not as productive for whatever reason, and they're being phased out to streamline, like most companies and organizations sometimes have to do to remain strong, okay? So that's one perspective. But another perspective from some people that I heard about that told me, hey, we left today. We're not members of the Terra Rebels anymore. Another perspective that I've heard from some other people is that they didn't like the direction necessarily that maybe a handful of people who are kind of taking charge and pushing the Terra Rebels, whatever is left of the organization, in a specific direction. They didn't really necessarily like the direction that it was going in, or it wasn't conducive to the way they want to go. I mean, there's no way to really meld it and make that work together because it's just, like I said, diametrically opposed to just the idea of how to move forward. And so they said, well, in order to really establish what it is that we're doing, we had to kind of disassociate ourselves from that group. We really don't agree with the direction maybe that some of them are going or trying to go. So there's a bunch of different things going on. But one thing for me, that is assured is that the Terra Rebels, the original band, is gone. There may be some original players still involved, but they've brought in, for me, a lot of new people. A lot of the old people have left, and it's just not the same organization anymore. That doesn't mean that they still can't be a very effective and, beloved organization who's still there to help us. It just means that the original, what it originally was, just doesn't exist anymore. I don't know. It is what it is, right? But yeah, I'm bothered by a lot of the fighting and a lot of the bickering, and a lot of it is coming from the community as well. Which, guys, really, I mean, it's just beneath us. It really is. You can disagree all you want with any of these groups or any of these individuals as to what their view is as to how we should move forward. The best path to take. You can totally disagree, but the animosity and the maybe name calling and it's out of hand, and it's absolutely unnecessary, because whether you agree or disagree with any one of these guys, what they are doing is, from their perspective, they are trying to help. This is the path forward according to their experience. Nobody's trying to kill the chain. Nobody's trying to bring this thing down. I mean, why? Where would that even come from? And I've heard that. Oh, this one's trying to destroy it. This one's trying. After all the work that's been done to bring it to this point, volunteer work, right? Why would anybody do that? It really doesn't make any sense. Just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that that person is trying to tear it apart, okay? They have their ideas. They have reasons for their ideas. I respect every one of these guys for being the professionals that they are and knowing how to do these things where I just way outside of my level of understanding and outside most of your levels of understanding too. Let's be honest, right? Some of you get this stuff, but a lot of you don't. And a lot of you that are commenting are just commenting on what you're hearing. Oh, they're trying to destroy this. They're trying to destroy that. Nobody's trying to destroy anything. They're trying to build it. Now, what's going to be the best path forward? I don't have a crystal ball. None of us do. Some of these ideas, listen, this is just history, right? People come up with ideas that the public thinks are absolutely crazy, and they end up being the best ideas. We don't know, all right? That's that Doctor Strange thing, right? But he's got the Infinity Stone that you can go into the future and you can see a bunch of different futures and see which one works out best. We don't have that, okay? What we do have right now is a vote. And that's where your voice needs to be. It doesn't need to be on Twitter cutting anybody down or in the Discord cussing anybody out or whatever. Make your opinions known, but do it like ladies and gentlemen, okay? Do it, let's be adults in this community. But really make your voice heard with your vote. When any one of these proposals are proposed, okay? We got a 1.2% burn tax. Do we keep that tax? Do we lower it to this? Do we lower it to that? Is it really killing the volume? You've got your ideas on it. Vote on the proposal. Should we repeg USTC? Should we work on that? Should we, do some sort of swapping thing? You've got your opinions on it. Vote on the proposal, okay? Should we create a new algo, stable, fungible, whatever, right? You've got your opinions on it. Vote on the proposal. Yes, no, abstain, no with veto. You've got a lot of options. Vote. That's all you have to do, okay? But appreciate every one of these guys for trying to come up with something and presenting us with options, all right? We have options that as a community we can choose on now. And the reason we have that is because these guys have put in so much work to try to figure this thing out for us. They deserve our appreciation. Whether they're terror rebels or not terror rebels or used to be terror rebels, they have my appreciation. And that's why I'll have any one of them on the channel anytime that they want to try to get their information out to the community. They're always welcome. I don't always understand or agree with what they're saying. Sometimes I do agree, sometimes I don't. But I'm really, really trying to be Switzerland. That's anytime I have anybody on, it is not an endorsement. It's just so that they can get the information out to me and to the rest of the community. That's all it is. All right. So this Saturday at I believe 3:00 p.m. EST Eastern Time, we're going to be talking to Tobias Anderson, better known as Zaradar. And he's going to come on and he's going to talk about his proposal. And I'm not going to understand 90% of it, but that's not the point. The point is for him to get the information out to the community, and you guys who are smarter than me and understand this can educate me better, can educate all of us better. Let's talk about it. Let's debate it. It's going to come up for proposal. And that way we all know, instead of bickering about it, get out some useful opinions so that those of us who don't necessarily understand all the technical stuff have a better idea of what we're voting on. Let's come together as a community on these things and educate one another. That's what these guys are trying to do. That's why I have them on all the time. And I would appreciate if the whole community did that for each other. We should be stronger than we're being right now. And I don't like it. Okay. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's my rant. That's what you get from me. You should be used to it by now. All right. All right. Hit the like button if you can on the way out. If you haven't already hit it. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Hit that all notification bell so that when I'm doing these interviews, these videos, whatever, you're notified. You can check it out if you want to check it out. Most of all, leave comments in the comment section because I love reading them, and I really have been educated by you guys on some things, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I hope you appreciate what we're doing here. Talk to you later. Ciao.